Hey Clashes, we just had balance changes for the equipments, and the obvious question now is, what are the best equipments after those balance changes, after people have tested them out? And all of this is being said with Supercell just announcing that there are no more other equipments balance changes planned in the near future. With that being said, we are pretty much fixed with the current set of the equipments, which means let's take a look at the top equipments for each hero. And we're starting with the Barbarian King, and we're starting as well with the first top 3 recommendation synergy list. This list is based off 2 things. The first one being the strength of the synergy of those 2 equipments, and the second then being how cost efficient is this combination. Because double epic, like the number 2 recommendation here, is probably the strongest combination in most cases. But obviously it's just super expensive to get those 2 equipments upgraded, so that's why I'm only putting it on number 2. On number 1 currently, in my opinion, is the Spiky Ball, because it's synergizing really well with the Earthquake Boots and with the Vem Stash, depending on how you use your Barbarian King. If you're sending it into the base, well, no big surprise, then you're going to go with the Earthquake Boots and the Spiky Ball. If you're sending your Barbarian King around the outside of a village, you can go with Spiky Ball and the Vem Stash. Both works great. But if you want to have one equipment combination for pretty much everything, well, then you can go double epic equipment. And otherwise, the combination, which is still incredibly powerful, is the Gauntlet with the Rage Vial. Still really good and really cost efficient as well, because you have only one of those epic equipments. So for the King, a little bit changed, right? Because we have now in the number 1 spot the Spiky Ball with like those 2 synergies. But did anything change for the Archer Queen? Let's take a look. Well, the answer is a no. Not really much has changed. In my opinion, still one of the best equipment combinations is Mirror with Frozen Arrow, or if you do not have the Mirror on level 18 or not unlocked it at all, you can still go with the Invisibility Vial. But otherwise, the number 2 recommendation is the Healer Puppet. That's such a strong equipment for the Archer Queen, and you can combine that really nicely with either Mirror or Invisibility, or the third one would be then the Giant Arrow, especially for air attacks. It's just such a big game changer. But let's take a look at a little bit more in detail at the Archer Queen equipments. If you're going with air, as I said, dragon attacks, Healer Puppet with the Giant Arrow is just so good. It's so nice to snipe down air defenses, sweepers, all of that stuff. It's helping you a ton. Otherwise, with the ground spam, like Mass Root Riders, you can go with the Mirror or Invisibility Vial combined with the Healer Puppet. Works really great as well. For Queen charges, classic Frozen Arrow, you can combine that with the Invisibility Vial or the Magic Mirror. Completely up to you. At the same time, the other equipments mostly stayed the same. So for the Archer Queen, you can tell already, not really much has changed. To be honest, not really anything, because the tier list which I just made with the predictive one was pretty accurate, and we did not have as many balance changes to the equipments of the Archer Queen. But the Warden had quite a few changes. And even though a lot of things were changed for the Warden, the balance changes are mostly not affecting the ranking, which means the Healing Tome and the Eternal Tome both were nerfed, but they're staying in this number 1 position because the synergy is just so good with any type of dragon attack, or for example those mass Root Rider attacks, where if you're playing some droids, you could mix in a Rage Gem if you want to. But the number 2 recommendation is still the same as well. Incredibly strong with the Fireball and the Rage Gem, especially with like Super Witch attacks, Warden charges, or any other crazy madness you can do, because this is turning your Warden into a one-man army. And then the third option is the Eternal Tome with any of those 2 different gems, which means the Life Gem or the Rage Gem. Both works great. You can combine the Rage Gem with like more droid-orientated strategies, but as well the Life Gem with like strategies where you have a lot of smaller troops like Lava Loon or like Hog Riders or anything like that. The more detailed list looks like this, where if you're combining the Warden with a lot of high HP hit point troops, and that's currently the trend of like they're the meta, right? Like Mass Dragons, Root Rider attacks, and so on. Then you want to go with the Healing Tome with the Eternal Tome. If you're combining the Warden with the Life Gem and the Eternal Tome, you want to do that with like Lava Loon or Hot Riders, as I just said, and so on. As well, I would say now let's go to the most controversial hero, which was a big topic in the comments after the changes, and that's the Royal Champion. And oh my goodness, the Royal Champion was quite controversial when the balance changes were announced, because people were freaking out about the Hot Rider puppet. But as I said, as I told you already when I did the video back then, things won't really change much, and exactly that is the case. For ground attacks, the Haste Vial and the Hot Rider puppet is still the best way to go. Pros are even using it still in the hard mode, where the Hot Riders are even lower level than the level 18 ones, right? So yeah, the Hot Rider puppet is still completely fine, because the reason it's still doing what it's supposed to do, and that is generating hit points in front of the Royal Champion while turning the Royal Champion invisible quickly, and this is all combined as a safety option while using the best offensive equipment for that Royal Champion, which is in the game, which is the Haste Vial. And this makes this combination still the #1 combination for the Royal Champion. If you're going with the Royal Champ alone or like a Dragon air attack, you can still go for the shield with the spear, but you don't even have to. Let's just take a look at a little bit more in detail, and you can see it with the ground attacks, or when the Royal Champ is supported in any way, then you should still go with Haste and Hot Rider puppets. But if you can go with air attacks, like dragons especially, and want to take down a specific compartment, you can take as well the shield and the spear. But to be honest, it's kind of like pretty much similar to the strength of the Haste and the Hot Rider puppet. The important thing here is, well, you can still use the old equipment combinations. The best thing, in my opinion, about the shield and the rocket spear combination is, well, you can already upgrade it when you're town level 13. That is, to me, the biggest advantage which this combination has, because, well, if you're town level 13, you don't have the Haste Vial, and it's just this combination which makes this so powerful with the Hot Rider puppet. But the spear and the shield, you can already start upgrading on town level 13. So it's up to you what you're going for, but if you're town level 16, and if you have the Haste Vial unlocked, go for it. It's still the #1 equipment combination. Now, well, I'm looking forward to see your feedback and what you think about this one. As I said, a lot of pros are still using it. If you're looking in High Legend, everyone is still running this Hot Rider puppet and Haste combination. As I have predicted, I mean, what should I say? I will see you guys back tomorrow with the next class video. Until then, see ya and bye-bye.